My name is Max Werner Conrad. I suffered a traumatic brain injury about 6 years ago when I was playing high school football with a 20-year-old helmet on my head. I always dreamed about writing. I wanted to be a sports writer. I had a 3.95 GPA. Only had one B. It was my freshman art class. My short-term memory is one of my biggest problems. The thing about short-term memory problem is I don't remember new things that I learned. My dad is helping me make this video about brain injuries and how they can be prevented.
It's that time of year again. The football season is in full swing. For the past several years, I've been in production on a film on brain injuries that occur on high school football fields. My son was the high school quarterback for a school on the Oregon coast. He suffered a concussion that was not allowed to heal properly before he returned to play. This was the hit he took that caused his concussion.
Back to throw, here comes the blitz, and he's going to get mauled over.
It was helmet to helmet, considered illegal, but often unavoidable. What's troubling is that he was allowed to play in the very next game without being required to see a doctor. These are guidelines. And why did Max's coach not follow the guidelines? Here he is speaking in a deposition for the lawsuit that followed.
During practice about the headache issue?
Is the question, did I check on him?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay, how did you check on him?
How you feeling?
Like all too many high school coaches, Max's coach knew very little about concussions. And this was the result: secondary impact syndrome.
Secondary impact syndrome is a result of an athlete having sustained one concussion without him being fully recovered from that first concussion, and then being subjected and then sustaining a second concussion.
Lack of control of blood flow to the brain develops, the brain floods, the pressure becomes massive, and death or major morbidity occurs. You have 3 minutes when that second concussion occurs to make any intervention before the game is over.
While this doesn't happen very often, there are about 150,000 to 200,000 concussions suffered per year for the 1.2 million kids who play high school football. That means almost 10% of all the kids who play can be at risk of a deadly injury.
Come on, throw it to me. Attaboy. Give me 5.
Since concussion is so potentially lethal, you would think that coaches would want to be sure each player has a state-of-the-art, properly fitted helmet. Well, here's Max's coach recounting in the same deposition his knowledge of Max's 20-year-old helmet.
Do you have any idea the age of this particular helmet?
I do not know the exact age of the helmet.
Okay. Prior to October 19, 2001, did you have any idea as to the age of the helmet?
No.
What follows is a clip from a coach who was a college great and an NFL standout quarterback.
And that's where you really rely heavily on Rydell or on Athletic Repair Service, those types of companies that specialize in the helmet reconditioning.
Yet how much do the people who work for these companies actually know about helmetry? Here's the person who owned Athletic Repair Service the year it certified Max's 20-year-old shot helmet as game ready. He's also speaking during a deposition.
Before you went to work for, or acquired an ownership interest, I should say, in ARS, did you have any experience in the design of athletic helmetry, whether for football or other athletic activities?
No.
Okay. How about the manufacture of athletic helmetry?
No.
Testing of athletic helmetry?
No.
Sales of athletic helmetry?
No.
His company, Athletic Repair Service, is now owned by the largest equipment manufacturing company in the world, and he is an executive with that firm. In their literature, Athletic Repair Service stated that helmets are subjected to a drop test. But it turns out only a small percentage of helmets that are recertified by any equipment refurbisher are actually drop tested. And are the coaches informed of that in the literature?
Before this happened, I didn't know anything about the reconditioning, basically. I didn't know about shelf lives for the helmet, or Rydell versus Schutt versus Air. I didn't know there was differences in the length they were supposed to last.
Do you anywhere in your flyer represent to your customers that you don't test all of the helmets that are submitted to you for reconditioning?
No, we do not put in there specifically that we do not test every helmet.
So if every helmet is not drop tested, even though it says so in the literature, what is actually involved in recertifying a helmet?
We manipulate the helmet with our hands to check for cracks.
Okay.
And other than that, I don't recall. I mean, that's a normal process that we do.
Well, this being the case, it seems to me it's real important that helmets be retired after their useful shelf life has been reached.
And a lot of times you don't know the year on them, I'll be honest with you. A lot of times all those pads are in there and stuff, you cannot see the year on the helmet.
I'd have to say I'm almost 90% certain our helmets are within the 10-year range.
Listen to this comment from Les Totten, the president of SportSoft, the company that produces software to track the history of a team's athletic equipment.
We went into some high school football equipment rooms. In one football equipment room I went into, I looked at a helmet there that had already been checked out to a kid for the season, okay? And inside was the reconditioners. It's a nice great big sticker. It's about at least 3 by 3 that was stuck on the inside of the helmet that said, this helmet is rejected, should not be worn for play by anybody.
This seems all the more reason to use a tracking system like SportSoft.
Helmets are not tracked as well as used cars are. I think it's a shame that football helmets don't have that same thing when both a used car and a football helmet have exactly, to me, the same potential for injury or death.
So how was it that Max's 20-year-old Air helmet was certified game ready?
I was told that they do not have a shelf life.
No stated life for its helmetry? Could this be a great marketing ploy when selling to cash-strapped school districts?
There are many school systems that don't change their helmets if they don't have an economic support for that.
You'd think that not recommending for retirement a piece of plastic protective equipment that is more than 10 years old might be construed as negligent. Well, perhaps, but there's a catch. Any manufacturer of any product anywhere in the U.S. cannot be held liable for equipment failure if that product is over 10 years old. Well, now, is that not convenient? Max's 20-year-old Schutt helmet, which failed most of the test standards for impact resistance for the year 2000, was immune from legal action because it had passed its age of repose. In other words, it was over 10 years old. The consequences of this little loophole is that my son will now spend the rest of his life in a facility that specializes in caring for people who have suffered a traumatic brain injury with hardly any financial support. Not much of a future for a kid that had a 3.9 high school GPA and was a baseball all-star that was expected to receive a scholarship to a Division I university.
Most of my friends went on to college, and I'm kind of left out here on my own, and I'm trying to help other people learn from my mistake.